Speaking with Berna Fidan, the sister of Esra Uyrun, who went missing from where she lived in West Dublin on the 23rd of February 2011.
Yeah.
Have there been any other developments?
No, none at all.
Nothing.
I believe Esra, and I'd like to welcome you to
To be honest, doesn't make sense. Has someone got hold of her? Has something horrible happened to her and we just can't find her?
Give me a kiss.
That child was everything to her.
I love you.
So I don't believe that she would have just taken off and left her baby behind.
Hello, I'm Berna, sister of Esra Uyrun, who's now been missing 13 years. Tomorrow, 23rd of February, and I'm in Bray, where her car was found, and I'm just pleading with all the Bray people to, if you have any information, please come forward. It's been too long that I keep coming back and getting nothing, and we're just praying that soon somebody will come forward with the information we're looking for, because I believe that somebody, if my sister did end up here in Bray, someone would have seen her or someone would have spoken to her maybe, but then again I'm not sure she ever got to Bray herself. But please keep Esra in your thoughts and your prayers. Thank you.
Now we're joined in the studio again, many years now, by Berna Fidan, who's the sister of Esra Uyrun, who went missing 13 years ago tomorrow, and in fact last sighting was in Bray here in County Wicklow. Berna, another journey. Just make sure the microphone is close to you there. Berna, thank you very much indeed for coming in. 13 years.
I know, it's unbelievable. It's actually the anniversary today.
Is
the
it?
23rd, yeah. Back then it landed on a Wednesday, and it was midterm you call it here? Midterm. So it's a bit quieter when her car pulled into Bray.
And, obviously you don't give up. You're here. You're in Ireland.
No, of course not. You can't give up. Without answers, you just can't give up. I mean, there's always that small bit of hope that we're going to get some news. But, it doesn't get any easier. It doesn't get any easier at all. Each year we come over and I feel heartbroken that every year I go back, I get on that plane to go back to London and I still have nothing to go on. I think that's the hardest thing, because nobody has come forward with any positive sightings or
And the
news.
longer it goes on, I mean, do you get disheartened?
I try not to. But it's not easy to... Well, you just hope that somebody will actually think, you know what, I do remember what happened that day. I do remember seeing her. I remember seeing someone come out of that car that morning, because I'm still in two minds of, did she actually ever reach Bray? Although her car was found in Bray, there is a big time lapse from when she left the house and got to Bray.
Yeah.
So, there's always been that question mark, like, did something happen nearer her home? And her car was just left in Bray.
And we'll go over the story again, but I believe that some, the CCTV, you've always said, oh God, it's very blurred and all that, but it has been sent to experts overseas to try and enhance it, and nothing.
Nothing at all, because the cameras that we used at the time were such poor quality that you can't even see that there's a driver in the car. I mean, obviously there is one because the car's moving, but they cannot enhance it enough to see if there's one person, two person, a man, a woman. It's just a complete blur. So, it's been over to the UK twice now to try and see if it can be enhanced, and we're still getting nothing, I'm afraid.
Nothing on it. And
no.
Is technology being developed that maybe in future years?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think it's what it
It's
was recorded on originally, because they were saying there were VHS tapes and things like that. So it's really old and poor quality that they can't enhance it.
Yeah. Just for our listeners who haven't heard over the 13 years, and you're always welcome to come in and we'll keep doing
Thank
it.
you.
Just to remind us of the story.
Well, basically, my sister, Esra Uyrun, she lives in Clondalkin. She was only supposed to just nip out to the shops on the 23rd of February 2011, just to pick up a few bits before her husband took the car and left for work. And, you know, he was just going to go to the gym that day, so he said, I'm going to take the car. So she said to him, well, just keep an eye on the baby, let me nip out, buy a few bits I need, and then when I come back, you take the car, I don't need it for the rest of the day. And that was the last that she was seen. You know, they told us her number plate reading was just before 8 a.m. that morning at the Power City roundabout in Clondalkin, and but she left the house no later than 7:15. So there's a big time difference, and that journey literally takes 4 to 5 minutes maximum. And being, as I said, it was half-term week, schools were out, so there wouldn't be any traffic on that road for it to take any longer. And then from that point down to Bray, the number plate was read all the way down to Bray and until it got to the Strand, where they do have that small footage. But her car came into the Bray car park by the Star Amusement, then left within less than about 30 seconds, less than a minute, and then went back through the one-way system, came down Convent Avenue, and then had a near collision with a Skoda Octavia as it came back onto the promenade. And but that Skoda driver, we've begged and begged, you know, if someone's nearly cut you up, you know, you must have looked round to see who was driving the car. You know, you may have got angry. All we want them to give us is a description of the driver, because then that's, you know, I just want to know.
You might remember, because it was such an incident where somebody nearly crashed into you.
And then, you know, the Skoda driver then went forward, and then my sister's car literally pulled aside and went straight behind the Skoda driver again, back to, you know, it was literally back to back. And then went back into the amusement car park area, right down to the bottom, and parked where it was a blind spot. So we never know who came out of that car. They've shown it on Crime Call several times. Yeah,
because I was on with you on Crime Call,
Yeah, they've shown it there several times, but the footage they show there is hours later than when my sister's car actually arrived there, because the camera that shows that image is on a swing motion. So her car came in just after 8:30 in the morning, but that camera did not swing round till after 10 o'clock in the morning. So, of course, by the time that camera swung round, it was a very heavily populated car park, so the car park was virtually full. When my sister's car pulled in there, it wasn't like that. There was the odd few cars there. So, and then they tried to tell me there was a lady walking up the hill and she never came back down again. Sort of similar build to my sister, but we've said that's not my sister, because the lady, because they said, oh, she's idly just looking around and whatever, but this is after 10 a.m. And I said, well, if you watch the footage close enough, you will see a dog that comes past her. And as soon as the dog passes her, she turns around and starts walking with the dog. So this was a person waiting for their dog. And everybody who knows Bray knows that if you start walking up that hill, you do not have to come down. You can walk straight across, or even up to the top of the car park. There's another car park at the top that you can walk and back onto the road. So, you know, everybody that goes up the hill doesn't necessarily have to come back down it.
Yeah. As we mentioned, Crime Call, I think Channel 4 did something.
Yeah, Channel 4 did a documentary a few years back. But we also filmed last year, and we've got a date that in May, TG4 will be showing a programme, and it's all based around Esra's case. So.
Right, okay. I mean, the search continues.
The search continues, and it will not stop until I get answers. You know, somebody out there must know something. I just cannot believe that somebody can just disappear and nobody's seen or heard. I do believe someone's sitting on information, and I just beg that person to come forward, because we need some form of closure. You know, it breaks my heart that I come over here all the time and year after year, and I will carry on coming year after year, God willing, and giving me strength. But we just want someone to come forward, you know.
And
it's not fair on us.
How is your life otherwise? You live in London, do you?
We live in we all live in London, which makes it harder to keep the appeals going over here. And You know, we put posters up every year. We've been we was in down the seafront yesterday putting up posters, and then we'll be in Clondalkin later on today putting up posters around her home where she used to live. It's not easy. I mean, Esra's mentioned every single day. You know, we talk about her every single day. She's never forgotten, and she never will be.
And just one last thing, the strange thing about the keys and the chipper.
Oh, God, that is strange. I mean, yes, it's always noted that she lost a set of keys, but the set of keys that she lost was in August 2010. And she came over to London several times after that. And one day she actually left a set of keys at my house. And she said, oh, I mustn't forget these ones, she said, because I've already lost a set. And she goes, do you like the key ring? So she showed me the key ring. And it, you know, that's how we recognise the keys anyway, because it had her picture on it with her son. And the gentleman who ran the chipper in McCarthy's in Nielstown, he came running out to me. It was on the first anniversary where we went up to put new posters. He said, oh, I have your sister's keys. And I said, you know, I was in total shock when he said that anyway. And I said to him, when did you find them? And he said, well, it was just before Christmas. He goes, I was waiting for you to come back so I can give them to you. Now, if it's just before Christmas, this is after she's gone missing. And the Garda have said, you know, it could possibly be the keys that she lost. And I said, but this is a regular shop she uses every other day, you know, to go and pick up a paper and what. They know her. They know her well enough to give those keys back to her if they were the original keys that were lost. And if you've lost a set of keys in a shopping area as small as Nielstown, you would go back and retrace your steps and go into the shops, because how are you going to get your car home otherwise?
Yes. God, it's strange. Berna, great to see you again.
And
hopefully one of these years there'll be the resolution.
And thank you for having us here.
Not at all. You've got a website?
We do. We have Esra Uyrun Facebook missing page and a Twitter page also. So, you know, please follow. And any information, please do not hold back. You can private message or even go to the Garda Confidential or the Missing People Confidential line.
Thank you very much indeed,
Thank you.
Berna Fidan, and well done. You've got great support with your friend comes over with you every year.
Yes, she does.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
What you're looking at here, that's an image of the not her, but a Renault Twingo. It's just for library purposes, so you can see the size of car. We're going to talk about this car very shortly and a bit more about the details of it. Air says.
No, just that it's a very small car, and just I remember before we started that you pointed out to me that it actually would be a very good car for an abductor, disturbingly, because it's so small.
It's small.
Yeah.
It's a two-door car. If, for whatever reason, whatever purpose, whatever intention, you are in the back of that car, you cannot exit that car. You can't even exit that car if the car stopped, because there's no rear doors for the passengers to get out. It requires the front doors opening and the seats to be pushed forward to allow access and exit. Why would you open the back hatchback of this small car and just put your purse, or some other person put Esra's purse in the back? Actually, I see a number of ways that purse may have got there, because there's no actual separating wall or structure between the very small back boot and the seats in the rear of the car.
Yeah, and like you see there, the seats make it, something could fall in between them.
Is it possible that the purse was on the seat and slipped back and fell down and somehow ended up in this bay area, this bottom bay area? That's a possibility. You know, if there was a struggle, she was subdued, or it came unattached from loose from her, fell out of her pocket.
And
you know, that's another way I could have got there.
There's no kind of like, you know, shelf thing or whatever, like, you know, from the boot, like, you know, at the back behind the seats.
Yes, and also there's none of those how do you say it? Like when you pull down a hatchback boot.
Yeah,
there's also another top thing you often see people put boxes of tissues on it, or there's no separator. There are no separators between the boot and the back of that passenger car. So I suppose the other more unpleasant thing is, I
suppose it's safe to say there's a few ways the purse could have got into the boot.
And the more difficult and unpleasant thing is a body in the boot. Is that really the kind of space to be able to place a body or a subdued person in that boot? I don't